Good evening, everyone. My name is Ahmed Muhammad, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to our second annual TEDxHUBS, TEDxHUBS 2026. We are truly delighted to have you with us today, as this event marks a significant milestone for our community, as we all come together to share ideas, creativity, and the power of student voices. What makes today especially meaningful is that this event is student-led, an event designed by young minds eager to share ideas, not only with us here, but with audiences all around the world. Before we begin, we kindly ask that you turn off or silence your mobile phones, not only as a courtesy, but as a sign of respect for the young minds you are about to hear. At this time, we kindly invite you all to please stand for the national anthem, which will be followed by a recitation from the Holy Quran by Ali Rahman.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان. والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان. والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان؟
I am powerful. I stand here representing my country and the strength of a generation that believes in its voice. What you are about to see is not just performances. They are messages and ideas shared from our hearts. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
علمنا المحبة وسوى كل اللي نحبه يا أهل الكويت يا أهل الكويت. من عطانا من رعانا منه صورنا وحمانا بعد رب البيت بعد رب البيت. الكويت أم الكويت الكويت أم الكويت الكويت أم الكويت الكويت أم الكويت أم الكويت.
بعز الانتماء وفخر الانتساب، مصدره الأكبر والأوحد هو الوطن، هي الكويت، هي الأم والأب والأرض والعرض، إنها الماضي والحاضر والمستقبل. تحيا الكويت.
Let's give our dancers one last round of applause. Thank you and welcome. My name is Rahaf Al-Kandiri. This event is special for many reasons. It was thoughtfully designed with a clear purpose: to connect our modern world with yours and to provide a platform for our voices to be heard. It reflects our commitment, creativity, and courage to step forward and share ideas with intention. The goal is simple, yet powerful: to listen to the voices that help shape the future. The talks you will hear present meaningful ideas, supported by research and insight, that explore our rapidly changing world. Before we begin our first talk, we invite you to watch a short video and a welcome message from Chris Anderson, the CEO and head of TED Talk, who will share a few words with us. Please direct your attention to the screen.
From Kenya to Colombia, from Iraq to Korea, in slums, in schools, in prisons, and in theaters, every day people gather at TEDx events around the world to hear the best ideas bubbling up in their communities. Today, you are part of a global conversation about our shared future. So what is this TEDx? TEDx is an initiative of the TED Conference, a non-profit devoted to ideas worth spreading. We grant free licenses to allow TED-like events to spread globally. This event today is based on the TED Conference format and ideals, but is independently organized by your local community. So please make sure to thank the team of volunteers who worked so hard on today's event. It's their ideas, dedication, and time that made it all possible. It's they who booked all the speakers, and the views you'll hear today are, of course, those of those speakers, not necessarily of TEDs. But we hope their talks spark an exciting conversation among you. This is a day for curiosity and for skepticism, for openness and for critical thinking, for inspiration and for action. The more you enter into it, the more you'll take out. And now, on with the show.
Thank you, Rahaf, and good evening, everyone. My name is Hamza Al-Shamiri, and I'm excited to introduce our first speaker. Our opening speaker is truly special, Yousef Dashi. Yousef's talk is all about confidence and having the courage to chase in what you believe in, even in a fast-paced and demanding world. Our generation faces real challenges, and Yousef will share his thoughts on how we can face them with determination. Yousef is a grade 5 student who is not only an inspiring soccer player, active both on the field and in the classroom, but also a curious learner who enjoys discovering new ideas through reading. Please join me in giving a big warm welcome to Yousef Dashi.
Given my age and how young, yet hopefully a little wise I may be, I've discovered something important. Confidence isn't a talent, it's a tool. And like any tool, you don't just magically have it, you'll learn how to use it. Most of us know the simple definition of confidence, believing in yourself. But knowing the definition and actually living it are two very different things. When I was much younger, I could never imagine myself standing up on stage, speaking in front of hundreds of people. Not because I didn't have something to say, but because I've convinced myself that I wasn't good enough. I thought confidence was something you were either born with or not. But over time, something changed. As I watched others stand where I am now, nervous, shaking, sometimes stumbling, I realized something powerful. Confidence isn't natural. It's practiced. It's not about being fearless. It's about acting despite the fear. It's truly mind over matter, and science actually agrees. Psychologists have found that confidence grows through experience and repetition, not personality. Dr. Albert Bandura, a well-known psychologist, introduced the concept of self-efficacy, the belief that you can succeed at something. His research shows that confidence increases when we try, adjust, and try again. In other words, action comes before confidence, not after it. There's also a powerful idea discussed in the book Mindset by psychologist Dr. Carol Dweck. She explains that people with a growth mindset, those who believe abilities can be developed, are far more confident in the long run than those who believe talent is fixed. Confidence grows when we stop saying I can't and start saying I can't yet. And here's the truth we often forget. You will never know what you're capable of without trying. So if you're waiting to feel ready before you try something new, here's my advice. Don't wait. Confidence doesn't show up first. You show up first, and confidence follows. Thank you.
Thank you, Yousef Dashi, for that inspiring talk. My name is Fadel Orifan, and I will now continue with our next speaker. We invite you to turn your attention to Asraar Bozobar. At just grade 5, Asraar is more than a student at HUBS. She is a fighter, a challenger, and someone who has stepped onto the stage with courage to inspire us all. Asraar will share her powerful perspective on how the mind controls the body, reminding us that true strength begins within, no matter your age. Please join us in giving a warm welcome to Asraar Bozobar.
Years ago, I found myself standing at the edge of a battle I never chose, but one I had to fight. A battle not against a place or a person, but against my own blood. I was diagnosed with a severe blood disease, and suddenly my life became medications, chemotherapy, and treatment so strong they made me feel weaker than I've ever been. In those 3 years, I went through 35 surgeries. I spent 6 continuous weeks in the hospital, admitted again and again. My world became hospital rooms, IV lines, and the constant smell of medications. It was exhausting. It was terrifying. And there were nights I asked myself, will I ever feel normal again? New pains, new feelings, dark moments. As Martin Luther King Jr. remind us, it's only in the dark, but we can truly see the stars. But here's the part I want you to hear. I did not fight alone. I had my family who stood by me through every sleepless nights. I had my school, I had my classmates, I had my teachers who cheered me on when I felt too tired to move forward. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminded us bil-Quran, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. The truth is, life gave me a disease, but I chose to turn it into a dream. I decided to become a doctor in the future, a pediatrician who helps the kids around the world, because I feel of every moment they pain, they feel, every moment they pain. And I shrank them to become strong and to never give up and to believe in their self. And I'm sure I'll succeed in that. I met the Minister of Health. Yes, the minister himself interviewed me. And in that moment, I realized my story wasn't just about pain. It was about strength. It was about resilience. It was about what happens to a human being when it refuses to give up. So today, if you just take one message with you, let it be this. No matter how hard the fight is, never stop. Because when you keep going, you don't just fight, you shine. And that is why my journey is called Fight Until You Bright. Thank you.
Thank you, Asraar. That was truly inspirational. My name is Ali Zankawi, and I'm excited to guide you into our next talk. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a question. Can you name a time when a challenge made you different or stronger? Can you name a time when a challenge made you different or stronger?
Why me?
Was there any hands? Go check.
Any hands? Check.
No. Tell them we'll have good.
Nobody wants to answer?
No.
What was a time when a challenge made you different or stronger?
بتعطوني هدية. I think life is full of challenges, but the biggest challenge is when I decided to go into the field of education, because it's really a big challenge, because I see wonderful faces like yours and like Asraar, God bless her, and all of the students there. I believe the challenge is worth it. So, Ali, thank you very much.
And now our next speaker is Maryam Haji Ali, a grade 10 student whose talk explores the idea of wonder and questions whether perfection is truly real or simply a matter of perception. As you listen to Maryam, we invite you to look beyond the surface and see the world through the lens of a new generation. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Maryam Haji Ali.
I want to tell you about a funeral I didn't know I attended. There were no flowers, no tears, not even a single person, just a very quiet goodbye. It was the day we stopped asking questions and in return started memorizing answers. That's when wonder slowly disappeared and something else quietly replaced it. A new obsession. Perfection. Perfection looks beautiful on the outside, but on the inside, it's a monster, one that eats your wonder one bite at a time. It feeds onto your doubts, your worries, and all the times you've whispered, I'm not good enough. But let me ask you something. If perfection were truly the engine of progress, would we even be here? Progress didn't come from perfect answers. It came from uncomfortable, brilliant, ridiculous questions. What if we could make light out of darkness? What if we could cross oceans? What if we could fly? The Wright brothers never waited to be certain. They tried, failed, rebuilt, and failed again. And because of that one question, the impossible took flight. Now, what have your teachers told you your entire life? What do people say every time you fail? Practice, practice, practice. Why? Because practice makes perfect, right? But it doesn't. Practice makes mistakes. Practice gives you the ability to ask. This tiny phrase, practice makes perfect, teaches whole generations to chase an illusion, something that doesn't even exist. It should teach us, however, that along the path of getting it right, you will wonder how to get it right. The light bulb, it wasn't born perfect. The steam engine, countless of failed experiments. Flight, definitely not perfect the first time. These people didn't chase perfection. They chased possibility. But somewhere along the way, we stopped chasing possibility, we stopped wondering, and we started worrying. Perfection didn't just rewrite history, it's rewriting this very moment. Right here, right now. You can feel it the second you walk into a classroom. The tension, the pressure, the quiet fear of not being good enough. A grade is just a number written in ink. So why does it define us? Ask any student what grades mean and you'll hear, grades determine my future, or I'm only smart if I get a perfect score. In classrooms today, perfection isn't even the goal anymore. It's a requirement. And nothing showed me that more clearly than the day I watched a peer receive a 95% and look devastated. She didn't think, what could I improve? She thought, I failed. And at that moment, I remember asking myself, how did we get here? And maybe, just maybe, this pressure didn't start in school at all. Because if you ask students where this obsession with perfect grades comes from, many won't say teachers, they'll say parents. Parents who truly love us, but sometimes confuse our worth with our performance. Parents who celebrate 100, but question a 95. If the first question is why not higher, then the message is clear. Performance comes before the person. Now look, parents don't mean harm, they want the best for us, but the best became the most. Effort only mattered if it won. Curiosity didn't fail, it was silenced. But not everyone was raised on perfection. I wasn't. I was raised on asking why, on attempting things before I knew how they would turn out. Flawless answers weren't applauded, effort was. So many kids grew up being taught to avoid mistakes. And that simple difference shaped the way I see the world. It didn't make life easier, but it made learning more alive. So to every parent in this room, listen closely. The next time your daughter or son comes to you with a grade, resist the instinct to ask for more. Instead, ask them what challenged them and what surprised them. Because sometimes one question from you can protect their curiosity far more than any perfect score ever could. So at the end of the day, it won't be a funeral. It'll simply be a warning. A warning that if we stop asking, stop experimenting, stop daring to wonder, we lose more than just answers. We lose ourselves. So the next time a grade feels like a judgment or a mistake feels like failure, remember this. Wonder is louder than perfection. Chase it, fail it, mess it up. Because every question you dare to ask, every risk you dare to take is a spark. And sparks, no matter how small, can set the world on fire. Thank you.
Thank you for your continued attention and thoughtful presence. Each conversation shared today adds depth to the ideas we are exploring together. Before we move on, can you think of a time when the pressure of being perfect has led you to failure and that taught you a lesson? I said the question. Before we move on, can you think of a time when the pressure of being perfect has led you to failure and that taught you a lesson?
Thank you. That time where I took on too many projects and I thought I can finish them all at the same deadline, but end up failing in 3 and only 2 succeeded. So my lesson was, don't take so many projects you can't complete 100%.
Truly an amazing answer, Miss. Thank you for this answer. We now shift our focus to a world that shapes nearly every part of our lives, the world of technology. Our next speaker, Yousef Muhammad, a grade 10 student, explores how technology reflects the intentions of those who use it and how its influence can shape society in powerful ways. He challenges us to think critically about responsibility, awareness, and the choices we make behind every screen. Please welcome Yousef Muhammad.
So, has anyone noticed how artificial intelligence is quietly becoming a part of everything we do? According to a 2024 survey by the Digital Council, around 86% of college students use artificial intelligence to assist them in their coursework, and some even admitted that it completes their coursework entirely. This shocking figure shows that many students are increasingly relying upon AI rather than using their own thought and creativity to solve real and complex problems. So at a first glance, artificial intelligence seems like a miracle to mankind. It's fast, it's efficient, and it solves almost any problem instantaneously. So the question is, what happens to humanity when we let artificial intelligence does all the thinking? Empirical research from Asta Psychologica found that among 580 university students, heavier reliance on AI was linked to low critical thinking ability. Supporting that, Stanford University's Human-Centered AI Institute reports that users often trust AI outputs even when they are wrong. That creates bias, a bias known as automation bias. So these findings indicate that artificial intelligence weakens deep reasoning. When we stop thinking creatively and critically, we become dependent and we lose our ability to innovate. History shows us the power of our thoughts and creativity. During the Renaissance, artists like Leonardo da Vinci and thinkers like Galileo questioned everything, old ideas, traditions, and even nature itself. Their curiosity caused creativity in the entirety of Europe. That itself led to the start of the scientific revolution, where thinkers like Isaac Newton and Francis Bacon developed the foundations of modern science, not by relying on tools such as AI, but with their own thought, creativity, and persistence. So today we stand in another turning point, the coming of the era of artificial intelligence. AI today can write essays, design medicines, and even compose music. But here is the truth. When we let AI think for us instead of with us, we silence the most extraordinary machine ever created, the human brain. AI itself isn't the problem. It's how we use it. When it is used wisely, AI can enhance our ideas, speed up discovery, and make the world better. But used as a shortcut, AI dulls our creativity and erases the struggle that makes learning meaningful and leads to us not thinking. Technology always mirrors our choices. The printing press spread knowledge. Social media spread opinion. And artificial intelligence, it will spread whatever we feed into it, either our own genius or laziness. So today, machines can calculate, predict, and even imagine. But they cannot question, they cannot wonder, they cannot risk being wrong. So the moment we surrender our creativity, we surrender our humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasim, for that talk. Before we move on, we'd like for you to reflect on one question. What is an example where AI will never overtake humans? What is an example where AI will never overtake humans?
I think it will not take over humanity, raising children, expressing emotions, parenting.
Thank you. That was a great answer. We are pleased to welcome a returning speaker to our stage for the second year in a row. Fatma AlQenai, at grade 10 student, continues her journey of inspiring others with courage, insight, and creativity. This year, Fatma will guide us through a powerful idea. Her talk invites us to reflect on change, presence, and the moments we often take for granted. We encourage you to listen closely, as this talk was written with you in mind. I need your full attention and a warm welcome to Fatma AlQenai.
There's a strange kind of sadness that comes in realizing that you'll never live a single moment twice. You'll never be this young again. You'll never laugh the same exact way again. You'll never sit in the same seat in this auditorium, experiencing the same feelings, listening to the speech again. And yet, that's exactly what makes this moment beautiful, because it's temporary. When I was younger, I thought meaning only came from what lasted. Friendships that never end, moments that never fade. Thought that if something mattered enough, if you loved and cherished it hard enough, time would bend around you. I used to cling to every joke, every conversation, terrified that letting go of any piece meant it all. I had a friend that I thought I would grow old laughing with. She wasn't just a person to me. She was a place, a version of myself I didn't know how to live without. And for a long time, I didn't even acknowledge the possibility that she could fade from my life without some dramatic ending. No fight, no closure, just distance. Like waking up one morning and realizing the road you've been quietly walking on together split into two while you weren't paying attention. A natural part of life's temporary nature I tried so hard to prevent. I tried to hold on. I kept the old screenshots, kept replaying our old memories in my head, kept pretending that if I didn't acknowledge the gap growing between us, it wouldn't be real. I thought permanence was some protective shield you could earn through effort, through loyalty, through love. And for a long time, I felt guilty accepting it. It felt like I was giving up on something that once meant everything to me. But eventually, I realized that letting go of someone or something doesn't erase what they or what it was to you. It solidifies it. That friendship wasn't a failure. It was a chapter, a beautiful, irreplaceable chapter that shaped me more than most things in my life. Letting go of it helped me realize that permanence doesn't make something less meaningful. It makes it human, makes it real. It allowed me to appreciate something I'd never fully grasped before, how much that friendship mattered to me. Sometimes I think about us sitting together, laughing about nothing, and it hits me that I'll never experience that same version of me, of her, of us again. And I've come to think that that's okay, that not everything in life needs to last in order to mean something, that some things are just sunsets, beautiful when they dawn upon you and meaningful because they set. I don't miss her as sharply as I used to. I miss her in a way that says, thank you, instead of come back. Most of the important things in your story are temporary, and that doesn't erase what they meant. It just ensures that you'll be able to properly appreciate them once they are gone. Understanding that makes all the difference, allowing us to live in every moment and understanding that permanence is about impact rather than time. According to meta-analyses published by BMJ Health, understanding the illusion of permanence significantly boosts mental health and morale and emotional resilience, enhancing the means in which we grow and experience things. We spend so much time trying to make things last, but maybe the real power lies in learning how to let them end beautifully. I used to think forever was the most beautiful word in the world. Now, I think it's moment, because a moment is honest. It doesn't promise to stay, it just asks you to notice it before it goes. And that's the point. Life isn't about collecting permanent things, but about experiencing temporary ones deeply enough that they leave something permanent within you. So, if everything we love is destined to fade, then maybe the most human thing we can do is learn to love it while it's here. Whether a feeling, a place, a version of yourself, a day, or a friend you once loved deeply. That is the quiet art of being temporary.
Thank you, Fatma AlQenai, for such a reflective talk. Your words encouraged us to pause and appreciate what often goes unnoticed. We now invite you to enjoy our short musical performance. We are pleased to welcome Ahmed Muhammad, a grade 5 student. We will now take a 20-minute break. Kindly ensure that you return on time as this event is being recorded live. We look forward to welcome you back shortly.
Welcome back, everyone. We're excited to begin the next part of our event. My name is Fatma Al-Juwaid, and it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker from Manarat School. Before moving on, we'd like to thank Manarat School for their continued support and for reminding us what it truly means to work as a community and as a group. Our next speaker, Sarah AlQenai, is a grade 10 student who shares her experience on living with a label that was once placed on her and how that label does not define who she is. We welcome our next speaker, Sarah AlQenai.
One thing I've realized about being labeled is that people think different means less. They look at someone like me, dyslexic, and assume they already know what I can and can't do, as if a single label can explain my whole mind, my whole life. But who decided that being ordinary is the goal? Because when you think about it, many of the world's greatest minds were labeled too, and not in a good way. Albert Einstein struggled in school, Thomas Edison was told he was too slow, and Isaac Newton, one of the greatest scientists in history, spent more time daydreaming than talking to others. And yet those very dreams changed our understanding of the universe. So, why should I want to be normal? Why should I let a single label decide what's possible for me? For a long time, I did. I sat in classrooms wondering why things that seemed easy for others felt like climbing a mountain for me. And slowly, that label felt heavier than the work itself. But being different doesn't mean being broken. It means thinking in new directions. It means seeing things others might miss. It means having the courage to stand outside the line and still shine. So today, instead of letting a label define me, I choose to define myself. I choose to see my difference as something valuable. Because history doesn't remember those who fit inside boxes, it remembers those who stepped out of them. So to anyone who's ever been called different, slow, or not enough, I want you to know this. It's not a disability, it's an ability, a different kind of ability. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, for sharing such a heartful talk. Your message resonated deeply with us and offered a perspective that encouraged reflection and understanding. We are grateful for the honesty and courage you brought to the stage today. We now move forward with a speaker whose message reminds us that meaningful change does not always begin with grand gestures, but often with the simplest of actions. Ahmed Muhammad, a grade 9 student, joins us to explore how kindness can shift mindsets, strengthen connections, and create lasting impact in ways we may not always immediately recognize. Please join me in warmly welcoming Ahmed Muhammad.
Have you ever thrown a tiny pebble into a lake and watched the ripples spread wider and wider? Now imagine that pebble is a simple act, a smile, a thank you, a helping hand. And those ripples are the lives it touches. When was the last time you smiled at a stranger? 1 year ago, in grade 8, I started. I didn't know anyone. I walked into a new environment, unsure of what would happen ahead. I didn't know anyone as I walked into a new classroom, with unfamiliar faces all around. A few students came up to me and started chatting with me. Because of that, I've strengthened bonds with them that I'm sure will last many years ahead. A few months ago, I saw a kid walking in the hallway, a bit younger than me. He dropped his entire lunchbox on the floor. Everyone walked by, pretending not to notice, and I almost did too. Almost. Then I thought to myself, it'll only take a few minutes to help. So I knelt down, helped him pick up his things, and continued with my day. It hadn't taken me much time, and I hadn't thought about it. But the next day, he came up to me with a snack and told me, "This is for helping me yesterday." This taught me something. Kindness doesn't stay where it started. It keeps on going, it keeps on multiplying, and it doesn't stop. We often think change has to be big: scientific discovery, a famous speech, or a global campaign. But what if true change began with something as small as holding a door open, recycling a bottle, or encouraging a friend who feels invisible? We often underestimate how much power a small action can have just because it doesn't make the headlines. But every great movement began with a small action. For example, on 1955, December 1st, Rosa Parks stood up for herself on a bus. When you hear this, it doesn't sound significant, something that would cause change. But what it did led to the change in civil rights and caused racial injustice to be realized in Montgomery, Alabama. Think about the choices we make every day. Do we stroll past someone struggling or stop to ask, "Are you okay?" Do we complain about trash on the ground or bend down to pick it up? These actions define who we are. They shape communities and how we are taught. There's a story written by Lauren Ainsley in 1969, The Star Thrower. It talks about a boy walking along a beach covered in starfish, over 1,000 of them. He starts throwing them back, one by one. An old man then comes up to him and tells him, "What are you doing? You can't throw them all back. There's thousands." To which the boy replies, "Maybe not. I can save this one." And that's the importance of small actions. We may not be able to help everyone, but we can help someone. And that's important in itself. So the next time you think, it's not my problem, or it's not my business, remember the smile, the lunchbox, the starfish. Sometimes greatness doesn't always shout, it whispers through everyday acts of humanity. So let's start a wave of kindness, gratitude, and action that begins here today with me and you. Thank you.
For sharing your personal journey, a heartfelt reminder of the importance of family, love, and support. Before moving on, we'd like to ask you a question. Based on the talk that you have heard, what message would you want to deliver to the hardworking youth today? ما الرسالة التي تود أن توجهها إلى الشباب المجتهد اليوم؟
I would say always, first of all, believe in yourself, work hard and set a goal and be determined, and you will be there.
We now turn to another student from Manarat School who will deliver a message of resilience and determination. Khadija Khalil Nuruddin, a grade 10 student, will speak about overcoming obstacles and navigating challenges, even in the face of learning difficulties. Her speech teaches us that even in the face of challenges, we can transform these obstacles into learning experiences. We welcome our next speaker, Khadija Khalil Nuruddin.
Your daughter is fine, they said. She'll grow out of it. I know my friends, they finished in public school and look at them now, doctors. That has been said to my parents' faces from far and close, almost leaving them no hope, encouraging them to stop fighting for my right. They took one look, they looked at me, a perfect well-dressed little girl, and said, "You look normal. Why bother yourself?" As if looks can lead you throughout life. They took one look not even knowing what I struggled with, what I saw my classmates do that I couldn't. I remember sitting in class watching my classmates read aloud with ease while my heart raced, hoping my name wouldn't be called next. Letters moved, words blurred, and suddenly I was behind again, not because I wasn't trying, but because I understood differently. One question I think of every single day is, does one really have to look physically different to have some kind of disability? And to my question, I have an answer. No. People out here who have the role of being important, handling the job that could shape a person's future, and judging based on how you look isn't a person that should handle that job. And this is how my experience started. My experience with dyslexia has its ups and downs. I never really knew how to feel about it. I just knew what others understood, I didn't. Learning differences is not a disability. It's an ability, a power you can shape and form. It's also a way you can find your way to study and learn in a way you can actually understand. Now, let's get this straight. Most schools, closed-minded teachers in specific, think there is one way to learn. But because of that, 780 million people in the world are struggling to navigate it. So if dyslexia is so common, why don't we talk about it more? Here is something that might surprise you. Tom Cruise, Muhammad Ali, even John F. Kennedy, and George Washington were all often cited as possible dyslexics, and all of them excelled in their fields. Now, remember that 780 million people we spoke about earlier? Well, yeah, only 80% go undiagnosed, and 17% gets professional diagnosis. Dyslexia isn't a weakness. You could say it's a challenge with reading, spelling, and understanding text quickly. Like all things human, It exists on the spectrum, from mild to severe. So if it's so common, why don't we speak about it more? When we share real stories, stories of people who are smart, creative, and resilient, we help shift the narrative. We help show that dyslexia does not hold you back, misunderstanding does. And to those parents who have a child that might have some kind of disability, don't let that blue card judge you. You're capable, you're seen, and you matter. A special thank you to two people in particular who led 9-year-old me from the darkness into the bright sun, Miss Hiba and Miss Naveen. Those two got me started into my school within 10 days as if I was there my entire life. And I also want to thank my friends and family for being there throughout my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Khadija, for that inspiring talk. It takes great courage to stand up on this stage and openly share personal experiences. And we appreciate your strength and honesty. Before we move on, why is it important to learn about learning disabilities and how they affect people differently? Who wants to participate or answer the question? إيه السؤال يقول إن ليش مهم إن إحنا لازم نتعلم عن يعني صعوبات تعليمية وإن هم شلون يأثرون على الناس بطرق وايد مختلفة. من يبي يجاوب على السؤال؟ ها؟ شنو؟ أوكي.
أكيد لأن في يعني وايد من الأطفال اللي عندهم صعوبات تعلم ويكونون الأهل يعني مو مستوعبين هذه المشكلة اللي يواجهونها الأطفال، فلما نشوف يعني نماذج بالمجتمع شلون عانوا من صعوبات التعلم وقدروا يتغلبون على هالمشكلة، يصير يعني بالنسبة للأهل إنه يكون عندهم ثقة أكثر إنهم يعني يطلعون بعيالهم ويكونون واثقين من عيالهم أكثر، ونفس الوقت يعترفون ان هذه المشكله يواجهونها وعندهم هذه الصعوبات التعلم، فيقدرون انهم يشوفون طريقه مهمه للتعليم حق هالنوعيه من الاطفال. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We now move forward with a speaker whose topic is often discussed quietly. Hussein Al-Qattan, one of our seniors and someone we are incredibly proud of, will share how growing up in a family with changing dynamics shared and shaped his perspective in unexpected ways beyond the challenges often highlighted. Please welcome Hussein Al-Qattan.
People often say that being young is the easiest time of your life. I wanted to start by saying something honest. That hasn't always been true for me. I grew up fast, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. At an age where many people were learning about themselves or discovering who they were, I became responsible. Not for myself, but for my family, and especially my younger brother. Being young and responsible is a very strange place to be. I mean, you have this person looking at you for guidance, looking at how you speak, how you deal with things, and how you deal with stress. That's one of the hardest struggles because you have to learn how to be strong when you're weak, or how to be calm when you're overwhelmed, or how to be mature before you're even ready. There are nights where I feel tired in a way sleep can't fix. Not physically tired, but tired from carrying responsibility quietly. But here's what responsibility taught me. It taught me patience when frustration took over. It taught me that caring isn't just words. It's being there over and over again, even if there's no one clapping for you. To anyone who feels responsible, To anyone young who thinks they're carrying this huge, huge weight on their chest, I see you. You have to keep going. And to my brother, I know he may not remember everything, but I hope he remembers this, that he was never, ever alone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hussein, for sharing such a moving and meaningful talk. Your perspective offered valuable insight and a deeper understanding of an experience that is often viewed from only one side. I'd like to ask the audience, how common is it for young people to take on adult responsibilities, and how does it help them grow? هل من الشائع أن الشباب يتحملون مسؤوليات الكبار وكيف هذا يساعدهم في التطور؟
I learned that since I'm the biggest in my family, I have to learn that I am the biggest and I'm supposed to teach and take responsibility of my younger sibling.
Thank you. At this time, we will take a short break. Kindly ensure to return on time so we may continue the program as scheduled. During the break, you are welcome to enjoy light refreshments and snacks provided. Before we pause, it is our pleasure to invite our talented performers to the stage, guitarists Dalim Lefi and Hail Ismail, who will now share the performance with us. We look forward to meeting you again in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the break and the wonderful performance. Thank you for returning on time as we continue with the program. Good evening. My name is Abdullah Al-Amir, and I will be your host for this segment. Our next speaker is Fatma Al-Madhkour. Have you ever wondered what shapes the thoughts and perspective of today's youth? Fatma, an inspiring grade 11 student, will share her insights, offering a clear and thoughtful perspective that can help us better understand and connect with the young people in our lives. Please join me in welcoming Fatma Al-Madhkour.
Is it possible for a person to defeat themselves in a battle? And not just any battle, a mental one. I have fought that battle more times than I can count. Before exams, before presentations, and even before standing here today. And I realized something. The biggest pressure I faced wasn't from parents, teachers, or society. It was from my own thoughts. That's when I began viewing innovation differently, not as new technology, but as in how I changed the way I think when I'm under pressure. I want to explore how psychology can help us reprogram our thoughts, turning fear into focus and stress into creativity. Because the biggest innovation starts with the smallest shift, the one inside our heads. Our society has become increasingly demanding, especially for our generation. There is always something more to do, something to improve. Grades, expectations, social media, comparisons, whether we admit it or not, it is happening. So we're left with two choices. Either we let that pressure defeat us, or we learn how to use it. This situation wasn't new for me. I have faced that pressure countless of times before, and my first instinct was always the same, to let the panic take over. I didn't fight it, I accepted it, and it consumed me. But later on, I recognized that instead of letting pressure control me, I needed to try something different. I began using those oppressive thoughts and bending them to my own will. Rather than focusing on what I should have done or what could go wrong, I shifted my perspective into what I can do in that moment. That shift made me more motivated, more creative, and more focused. While exploring this idea, I read a brief summary of a book called The Upside of Stress by Kelly McGonigal. The book explains that stress isn't always harmful. It depends on how we perceive it. When we view stress as a threat, it can overwhelm us. But when we see it as a sign that something matters, it can actually improve performance, motivation, and resilience. That idea changed how I looked into my own thoughts, especially during moments of pressure. This mentality fuels people to success. Instead of letting thoughts work against the mind, a person can switch the trajectory and use those thoughts to reframe their mindset, transforming fear into focus and pressure into purpose. And this isn't just a theory. It's something I've practiced in real moments of pressure. For example, before this event, my mind was filled with countless of negative thoughts. What if I don't make it into the TED Talk? What if I mess up and get rejected? I have used this reverse technique on myself for many times and turned those thoughts into better ones. What if I actually made it to the TED? What if I have delivered one of the most perfect speeches someone has ever heard? Those thoughts drove me here. Without them, I would have been sitting at home, letting fear take over and missing this opportunity. Our thoughts are powerful storytellers. They shape how we remember the past, how we experience the present, and how we design the future. When left unchecked, negative thoughts can trap us in fear and self-doubt. But when we become aware of them, we can rethink and improve them. And that is how we regain control. We are not our thoughts. We are the thinkers behind them. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatma, for sharing such a thoughtful talk. I am Athman Al-Ahmedi, and I will be guiding you through our next segment with Farah Al-Awadi, a grade 10 student who joins us with her second year of successful TED Talk. Farah will share her insight on how the brain and body works together for our overall health, helping us understand the amazing connection between mind and body and how it shapes our well-being. Please welcome Farah Al-Awadi to the stage.
Have you ever said yes when every part of you was telling you no? Maybe you shared your notes even though you didn't want to. Maybe you laughed at a joke that wasn't so funny. Or maybe you stayed silent when your heart was begging you to speak just to keep the peace. If so, you're not weak. You're human. In fact, millions of young people walk through life every single day, wearing invisible masks, performing versions of themselves they think the world will approve of. At first, it felt okay, polite even, kind. But over time, that mask gets heavier until it starts taking over the real you. I know this because I've experienced it too. And here's my story. My house is right next to a mosque that I go to from time to time. I made a few friends there and we used to walk home together. One day, one of my friends invited me to her house just for tea, just for a few minutes, she said. Now, the problem was I had a curfew to be home, and I hadn't asked my parents for permission before going. But instead of listening to my own voice, I listened to fear. Fear that she might think I didn't like her. Fear of disappointing someone else. So I said yes, even though I knew I shouldn't have. I went inside without my parents knowing, convincing myself it was no big deal. Just a few minutes, I thought. But when I finally got home, half an hour late, my parents were terrified. They yelled at me, not because they were being harsh, but because they were scared. At that moment, I didn't just break a rule, I broke their trust. And the painful truth hit me hard. I lost something precious with my parents just to keep a friend happy. That's what people-pleasing can cost you. Psychologists describe people-pleasing as a behavior rooted in the fear of rejection. Research published by the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology shows that when we receive approval, our brains release dopamine, the same chemical linked to pleasure and reward. So every compliment, every smile, every thank you gives us a tiny rush. Over time, we can become addicted to approval, chasing it the same way we chase likes, views, and validation on social media. But here's the truth no one tells you. What feels like kindness can slowly turn into self-betrayal. And here's what you need to hear today. You were not born to be a mirror for other people's expectations. You were born to be a voice, your voice. Approval feels good, but freedom feels better. Freedom is saying no without guilt. Freedom is choosing self-respect over temporary acceptance. The moment you stop shrinking yourself to fit someone else's comfort, you begin expanding into the person you always meant to become. You don't need to earn your worth. You don't need to prove it to anyone. You don't need permission to protect your boundaries. You already have value, exactly as you are. If you could take just one thing from my talk today. I'd like you to remember this. You don't lose other people by saying no, but you lose yourself by always saying yes to other people. Thank you.
Thank you, Farah Al-Awadi. Now, let's take the conversation a step further. Our next speaker, Dina Al-Musa, brings us a topic that helps us understand one another a little better and perhaps even make sense of a few family group chats along the way. Through insightful information and data, Dina explores how generations differ, how perspectives evolve, and how the words we choose can shape understanding, connection, and communication. Please join me in welcoming our senior, Dina Al-Musa, to the stage.
You should learn when to stop talking. This hurts. Some people might think that this is some joke, when in reality, it can shape the way that we exist. Growing up as a very opinionated child, it was routine to receive criticism from people at home, at school, and even in extracurricular activities for what I would say and how I would say it. People used to assume that I was giving attitude, when in fact, I wasn't. It was purely me just staying true to my principles and to what I believed was right. For example, one day, while sitting in my math class, my math teacher accused my friend of doing something which she did not do. Obviously, I did not take this in the right way. I stood up for my friend and told my teacher that whatever he was implying was far from the truth. He obviously didn't appreciate that. These moments seemed to follow me outside of the classroom. One day, I was walking into my kickboxing gym, and my coach looked at me up and down and said, "You walk into a kickboxing gym wearing pink slippers?" At first, I thought this was funny and I replied in the most reasonable way possible, saying, "The color of my slippers don't affect the way I train, right?" My coach found this extremely funny, so he ended up making me run 5 very long laps outside in the heat. But whatever, that's in the past now. Whether it was me questioning things that didn't make logical sense, or standing up for what I believed was right, my frankness often earned me disapproval, and especially from those who preferred social approval over conviction. Now, psychology proves that this criticism can and will lead to repercussions that will not disappear in the blink of an eye. Some adults also feel anxious or worried to speak out on their opinion, fearing to be judged or to be called too much, let alone a child of 6 or 7 years old. This fallacy has created a never-ending vicious cycle that must be broken, yet sadly, our society continues to hide the very thing that makes us who we are, our voice. Now, take a moment to think about any historic figure that has made a significant impact on culture. Anyone? Now, think with me. Did people try and silence them? Yes, in fact, many. But the real question is, were they silenced? No, they weren't. For instance, Greta Thunberg, Ernesto Guevara, Muhammad Ali, they were all shut out because they were too bold, but their voices created change. They didn't accept or wait for that permission or that, yes, okay, sure, go for it. No. They unapologetically chose to be themselves. Now, over the course of many generations, people have mistaken this voice for a nuisance instead of a push for change. We have learned to shrink ourselves for the sake of other people's comfort, yet this comfort hasn't allowed anyone to progress. This progress will only come from the voices that refuse to fade. So, if anyone were to ever tell you that you're too much, just remember this. The world doesn't need quieter people. It needs braver ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Dina. Now we'd like to ask the audience, what happens when we place high demands on young people? السؤال، شنو يصير إذا نضغط على الصغار بشكل عالي؟ روح.
ما أدري.
There would be يعني يكونوا يعني يعاندون أهلهم. أدري بس يعني ما يعني راح يكونون يعاندون أهلهم. And they would be very aggressive, I would say.
Thank you for your answer.
Any other answers? Any other answers? What happens when we place high demands on young people?
It creates too much responsibility to handle, especially when you're stressed.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you for your answers. Now, our next speaker will explore a topic that quietly influences many of us. She will reflect on how a material-focused lifestyle can sometimes shape the way we think, feel, and see ourselves, often without us even realizing it. This message is not about blame or criticism. Instead, this talk invites us to pause and consider how our perspectives can be influenced and how material things, especially something as simple as clothing, can communicate messages and create impressions that go beyond what we intend. Please join me in welcoming Janelle Hashash on stage.
A few years ago, a luxury sneaker brand resurfaced across the media. And almost overnight, it felt like everyone in the Gulf suddenly owned a pair. Influencers, teenagers, and celebrities alike flaunted their new shoes as symbols of silent rebellion, personal freedom, and unapologetic creativity. And believe me when I say this, but at that time, I wanted to be a part of that too. But there was one problem. Keep in mind, these luxury brand sneakers were purposely scuffed, stained, and devastated by design. When these shoes first became a trend, I remember constantly asking my parents for a pair, but they just laughed in my face. They couldn't understand why anyone would pay a huge sum of money over shoes that are torn and distressed. And at that time, I didn't understand either. But I'm not here today to criticize the brand, but I am here today to reveal the brutal truth of our world that reveals much more about power, about identity, and about perception. Look closely at the so-called rich. You will see that they often wear plain shirts, no flashy logos, and no loud labels. You will find them speaking warmly, sometimes affectionately to strangers, as if genuine connection matters more to them than the digits behind their bank account. You may think that this is humility. You may think that this is modesty, but it's not. It's an illusion, a performance designed to deceive society not with gold, but with absence. The less they show, the more we assume. The simpler they appear in public, the more they earn our respect. So, why exactly does an impression formed within seconds influence greatly who we trust? First of all, a good impression is good business. According to business owners and public figures, pretending to be frugal can send a very specific message to society, saying, I can be trusted. In 2015, the Journal of Financial Economics Center has found that CEOs and CFOs who hide their money contribute to less fraud, while those who openly flaunt their money increase fraud. In other words, frugality is not just a virtuous trait, it is a manipulative strategy. Another reason the wealthy love appearing to be common is because it is a shortcut to respect and to legitimacy. It is no surprise that throughout history, the rich have never been exactly loved by the public. The more they glitter in public, the more envy and resentment they attract, which makes it hard for them to earn respect and even harder for them to cement their power. So, how do they earn our respect? They fake their struggle. And the easiest way to do so is by turning it into fashion. Look around today and you will see it everywhere. These people are out there sporting torn jeans for over $600 that I could have sworn have first seen on a farmer. Or shoes with torn edges and frayed soles, yet somehow, when they do it, everybody calls it art. But if a homeless person wore the same tattered shoes or the same ripped jeans, they wouldn't be admired. They would be mocked, ridiculed, and dehumanized. So, what's the difference? A logo, a price tag, a fantasy. That's what they're actually selling. The fantasy of struggle without the pain of actually living it. And maybe that's why this topic matters much to me. Because I've been that person, standing in front of a store window, measuring my worth against a price tag I knew didn't convince me. When I was younger, I wanted those shoes more than anything. Not because I liked how they looked. Honestly, they looked awful. But because everyone who mattered seemed to be wearing them. And maybe if I wore what they wore, I would finally be seen. Because I grew up in a world that teaches us that in order to stand out, you have to fit in. That in order to have a personality, you have to fake it first. That in order to have depth and meaning, you have to wear struggle as if it were an accessory. But the truth is, personality can't be bought. It is not limited edition, and it is not on sale next season. It is who we are when the brand names fade, when the spotlight turns off, when we stop performing and we start living. So, no, I never got those sneakers. But do you know what I did get? I got perspective, something no amount of money could ever possibly buy. Because at the end of the day, the most expensive thing any of us can lose isn't money. It is ourselves. And the courage to stay real in a world that begs us to perform. Thank you.
Thank you, Jana, for this wonderful speech. As we move into the final moment of today's program, we leave you with a reminder that progress rarely comes from getting everything right, but from learning what to do when things don't go as planned. Our next speakers are Abdulaziz AlQenai and Hilal Mtairi, both grade 10 students and best friends who encouraged one another to take the stage together. They will share their insights on how failure is not the end, but often the first step toward growth and success. Please join us in giving a warm welcome to Abdulaziz and Hilal.
We're not only supporting our literary community, we are supporting.
In that moment, when I walked off stage, I felt like a failure and will never redeem myself.
Listen, just because you made a mistake, it doesn't mean that it would hold you back permanently. In fact, it would help you later on when you face much bigger challenges.
But Aziz, I've made mistakes my whole life, and I've never learned anything from them.
Well, that's because you didn't take advantage of your mistakes. Let's say you took a test and forgot to study. You will not get a good grade. But you will learn from that mistake and hopefully study earlier for our next test and get better grades.
Well, Aziz, couldn't I use that lesson and use it for various things in life? Like, for example, learn a skill that will benefit myself in the future.
Yes, even though it would be hard in the beginning, never give up.
But Aziz, here's the thing. That feeling, never give up, it drains my energy and my mentality.
Well, remember when I was overweight last year? I weighed approximately 86 kilograms. Yes, I know, 86 kilograms. Well, that made my energy at an all-time low. I couldn't do any physical activities, and it even affected me mentally.
Yes, I remember. You're really sad about that. What changed?
One day, I decided that I needed to change my old ways, change my bad habits, and turn them into better ones. So I decided to start going to the gym and eating healthier.
So you're saying focus on the moment as it would lead to your future?
Yes, exactly. But listen, anything is possible if you put your mind to it. I thought I would never lose this weight, but here I am today, more confident than ever.
Yes, anything is possible, of course, but you do have to work for it, right?
Definitely.
So you're saying that my mistake on stage was not the end of my story, but instead, it was just a difficult challenge. So here I am today, trying to get the most out of my situation.
Listen, in your life, you're going to have many opportunities to create new chapters, but make sure that it's better than the ones in the past.
You know, it's never too late to make improvements, but you should never feed into mistakes. Do not let one setback delay your improvements. Instead, it should be a stepping stone for your success.
Anything is possible, but you should have the right mentality. I know you can't make $1 million appear in thin air. You have to work for it and work through your own challenges.
Even if the whole world is against you, mistake after mistake, challenge after challenge, it's never too late. You should never give up.
Just like our beloved teacher, Mr. Said, once said,
if you want to fly, you can fly, just try. Excuse me. I want to say one thing before I leave. I want to thank my uncle, Abdullah Naji Mutairi. He is not my uncle, but instead he is my role model and my inspiration in life. His wisdom, kindness, and support have shaped me into the person I am today. One day, I hope to make him proud. Thank you for being such an incredible influence in my life.
Please, join me in thanking Abdulaziz and Hilal for their honest talk. Before we move on, can you think of a failure that turned into an important lesson? أو ممكن تشاركونا بموقف بحياتكم وين فشلتوا فيه وبوقتها حسيتوا إنها مصيبة، ولكن سبحان الله مع مر الزمن شفتوا إنها صارت خيرة وتعلمتوا درس وايد مفيد.
When I was in the 9th grade, I was expected to deliver a speech for the honor roll ceremony. And actually, I wrote my speech and I memorized it, but as soon as I got up that stage, I was really nervous and I was frightened and I was saying my speech and I kept on stuttering. And you know, that became an important lesson in my life, that stuttering and making mistakes, just as the speaker said, shouldn't be a setback and I should continue.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you for your answer. Any more answers?
Thank you all for sharing. Now, due to technical difficulties, we would like to welcome Noor Al-Ansari back to the stage so she can deliver her powerful message about her family.
Some of you may know me as a mommy's girl, and I used to think this was a bad thing. But now, I stand in front of all of you, and I proudly admit that yes, I am a mommy's girl. And no, it's not that I'm codependent or that I'm not independent enough. And no, I don't have attachment issues. This is simply a result of growing up in a loving and nurturing household. In fact, the Harvard University Center on the Developing Child has done research that's shown how stable family environments create resilience and long-term success. As writer Rick Riordan once said, families are messy. Immortal families are eternally messy. Sometimes the best we can do is remind each other that we're related, for better or for worse, and try to keep the maiming and killing to a minimum. Now, families, you may be wondering, what does a teenager know about family? How could she possibly teach me something I don't already know? Well, I'm here to tell you that we feel it every day. And I'm sure that all of your children, whether they're teenagers or not, will forever have a special place for you in their hearts. Why? Simply because you're family. Family is like the roots of a tree. You don't always see them, but they're there. And it's the reason you stand tall. We often feel more like ourselves and we're most confident when we're with our families. And they create a sense of physical and financial stability. This stability, both emotional and economic, play an enormous role in our lives. We may not always say it, but we deeply appreciate it. Studies that have been done show that children who grow up in stable family environments often do better in school, have better mental health, and are overall more satisfied with their lives. One problem that has created a huge shift in my family is when I found out the most horrible, world-destroying news you could possibly get as an anxiety-prone 14-year-old. I found out that my own mother was diagnosed with cancer. Cancer has become a norm. We see the families trying to overcome this disease. We see the fighters battling it every day. We see it in real life and on social media. But when my mom got diagnosed, I didn't know what to do. But she did. She gave me the love and nurture that every child deserves. My mom would always know what I was feeling. And she would always convince me to tell her in her own special way. And she would always put everything into perspective and remind me that everything happens for a reason. And it is in these situations I have experienced the importance of having a strong support system. And who better than those who have helped shape our personalities, those who know our flaws better than we do, those who have watched us grow up, our families. Studies have shown that emotional support also plays an enormous role in families, especially those coping with cancer. You could say that the more emotional support a patient gets, the better the results. It leads to a better quality of life. So, whether it's the love, the lessons, the late night talks, family shapes who we are. And for that, we owe them more than just our words. We owe them our hearts. And here's my little challenge to all of you today. I want you to go home and let a family member know just how much you love them. It could be a thank you to your parents, a hug to your siblings, or just a simple message to a relative. It could seem like such a small gesture to you, but that gesture could mean the world. To end this speech, I would like to thank my parents, my mom and dad, my heroes who taught me love. Thank you.
Thank you, Noor Al-Ansari, for performing such a heartwarming speech and reminding us about the importance of the only people in the world who want to see us better than them. Now, unfortunately, as we come to the end of today's program, we would like to thank you for sharing your time with us. Your presence has truly meant a great deal and brought this gathering to life. We hope you leave feeling encouraged, inspired, and connected by the conversations shared today. At this time, I would like you all to join me to invite the event organizer, Ms. Salah Mujbil, to the stage.
I'm going to do what Ahmed did. Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for spending your Thursday with us. We truly appreciate your support for our students and believing in our students. Tonight wasn't just about stage or a program, it's about believing in our youth and their future. Just a brief background about TEDxHUBS, it's just to empower the community. For us, we truly believe in our students and those in our community. So that goes to thank Manarat School for being part of our team today and trusting us with your children. Thank you, Manarat, thank you. We learned something, definitely, that's for all teachers, including myself, to look into the perspective of our students. We hope we showcased and made you proud. To our TEDx organizing team, they became family, not just a team. Miss Layla, raise your hand, Miss Layla. At least come with me. Come stand, please. Miss Iman Jabir. Miss Nasran, where's Miss Nasran? Miss Nira Al-Mutawwa. Miss Lataif Al-Msallam. Miss Zainab Al-Mutawwa. Miss Shahla, Miss Shayma, and of course, the man behind every event that you ever see in our school, Mr. Wahid. Thank you. You helped, I cannot take this credit alone. I mean, this team, they can finish my sentence even when I just give up. The past 2 days I gave up, I was like, I'm not doing anything, you guys do it. And they did it, and they did it very good justice, by the way. So to thank those people who have sponsored us and believed in us, KUWAIT and Centerpiece, and those who people, I have jitters from all the coffee I drank today, so thank you, Centerpiece. And Mama Raja, thank you for trusting us. Our school director, she taught by love and led by love, and we have learned from her, so we love our kids because you have shown us love, so thank you so much for that. Ms. Khair, she's watching us live, so I'd like to thank you for calming me down every time I'm stressing out and giving me clarity and direction. To the parents, thank you for trusting me with your kids past 6 o'clock. I know that frustrated you, you have to find rides, but thank you for trusting me. And so tonight, it proved something beautiful. Our young people their future is bright because they showed that they're confident. I mean, it's so hard to stand on stage, so our future's gonna be okay. We're in good hands. They're gonna be good doctors and teachers. Now I'd like to welcome the main people to the stage, our speakers, our volunteers, everyone who helped create this event. So please, everybody who helped, the volunteers, the hosts, the speakers, one last round of applause, because truly, we've been practicing since October till now. We'd like one last picture with all of my children. I'm very, very proud of you. You did, okay, there we go. You did justice for this event. Thank you. Our backstage, Mr. Ammar. Abdul Wahab, where are you? Yes, of course, Taiba, Ali, Ahmed, our manager. The ladies, you did such a great job. I'm so proud of you. I hope I didn't fire any more people. Is that okay? We're all okay now? So one last picture just before we go home. Thank you, everybody. I hope we made justice for today. Thank you. All right, there's, yalla, Mr. Wahid. Just one picture, guys. Why are you huddled like that? Spread out, we need a picture.
وسعوا الملعب وزين العذارى في